super
Miss
great.
Angle you,
Oh yeah, just fucking keep like that. Danny, how do you get your hair to like just stick up like that?
I have this gel thing that you put in it. I think most people know what gel is.
Gel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it's like a paste, it's called. And just
Seems like it's not as big in real life, actually. I've noticed.
the hair? Well, we cut it before we came here, so.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Trimmed it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But usually it can get like crazy.
Got it. All right. Well, that does it. Thanks for the interview.
No worries. Yeah, that's fine.
I just saw a post that you made where you said if you love animals and eat animals, you don't love animals. Elaborate on that.
I think when people use the term love, when it comes to certain things, the meaning can be different. So when someone says, I love this shirt, I love this song, that might mean like this thing brings me like joy, whatever. But when it comes to like another life, like I love my wife, I love my family, usually you mean something like, you want them to be happy, you really appreciate them. Perhaps you'd have an issue with them being mass farmed by the trillions and tortured and exploited and killed and be viewed as a commodity. So I think when people say I love animals, or like I'm an animal lover, but they simultaneously, number one, view animals as property, aka resources for us to exploit, which is to be treated unfairly, if you want to define that word, and then also kill them at an earlier time than their natural lifespan would give them. Just seems a little bit incompatible with love in the way that people say, like, I love my family, I love my this. So in the traditional way that people say, like, I love X person or family, it just doesn't seem like no one's like, I love my wife, also like I'm gonna kill my wife when she's like has 70 or 80 more years to live.
Some people would argue with you on that point, but they're in prison, and that's probably for a very good reason.
Yeah, right. So, yeah. So something like that, I would say.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Who's your favorite carnivore influencer?
I don't really have any. I don't like any of them, but favorite in terms of like I find them funny.
I don't know, just your favorite. Who's your boy or girl?
So no one's really my favorite, but I think at the moment, because it changes, it depends who has the most weird, inconsistent stories, or who's making insane claims. But at the moment, probably Steak and Butter Gal, because
I knew it.
She's just. A lot of my work involves like exposing hypocrisy or inconsistencies, and she kind of just does the work for me. Like I just have to kind of just rewind sometimes, and she actually just said something that conflicts with what she said later, like in her Jubilee episode. She said like when she was vegan, that diet was cheaper than her carnivore diet, but then later on she said that her carnivore diet is cheaper than her vegan diet, and I just had to like put those clips together. And
we know for a fact, like no meat eater out there could ever possibly claim that eating the way she eats would be cheaper than eating a plant-based diet.
I mean, animal products, like even if you go to a meat section in any standard grocery store, you can see like the price per pound is insane compared to any sort of like grain or like.
Yeah, of course.
So
with her, like, what do you think? I've got my opinion on this, see if you agree. I think that she's like a dog with a bone, right? She's found this. She saw it explode in popularity in, when she says certain things, she gets more views and more money. I think it's textbook charlatan playbook, scammer charlatan playbook. Do you think that's what's going on? Do you think she genuinely believes what she's saying?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this is all, of course, psychological speculation. We don't have evidence for her intentional states in her brain. But if I had to guess, I would say maybe she's convinced of her own stuff. Like over time, people can just kind of be convinced of their own lies or bullshit or whatever you want to call it. But I believe her when she says that she feels significantly better and her life has improved, but there's just also too many inconsistencies in what she says and what she shares online. Like she said on Jubilee on I think it was October 12th, I don't eat dairy right now, but then if you go to her page, a couple of days before and a couple of days after, she's sharing dairy stuff and saying, actually, this has been my diet lately, raw cheese and meat, and then people have called her out on the butter thing, which is dairy, and then she goes, I don't consider butter dairy. It just doesn't. It's like well, that's like, how did you even?
It's interesting. It's like it's like some people accused her of having carnivore brain fog. Like, as it seems like she might be genuinely not keeping track of her own things.
Yeah, because if you're gonna, like, I don't know if she's lying or if she's just forgetting or both. It's not. It could and it could be both as well.
Right. Yeah.
And if you're gonna lie, you got to keep track of everything you say, because you don't want the contradictions to be.
Yeah, and when it's all online in public, it's going to come back to haunt you.
Right.
For example, like comparing her, for example, to someone like Saladino, Paul Saladino, I obviously most of what he says, especially when it pertains to like veganism, is bad and wrong. But at least with him, have you noticed with him, he actually seems to have turned the corner and is not being as, he's still silly and he's still saying dumb things, but it's way less, I don't know what the word would be, dogmatic than it used to be. Like there's like specks of nuance in there now.
Oh yeah, like, I literally have a video I dropped recently where he was on the doctors a couple years ago, and he says word for word, there are no risks in eating an animal exclusive diet. And of course, a couple years later, he talked about how he's quitting an animal exclusive diet, carnivore, and going animal based because he had all these health problems. And that's a good example of where in the past he was a lot more just like there's no risk, which no serious like scientists would ever speak in such absolute language, but he did. And then he comes a couple of years later and suffered all these problems. So maybe now he's a bit more like, okay, I gotta be more particular with my language, you know, a little bit less absolute, which unfortunately is a more boring way to speak if you want to get views. But it's, you know, so I do think he has toned it down a little bit, but there's still issues.
No, of course, I noticed that one of his videos when he was talking about veganism, he did say something like, just along the lines of, if you want to eat a vegan diet, you know, it can be done right. It's just that
take a million supplements.
Yeah, right.
Which, you know, it's like I have 2 things in my bathroom, which I guess 2 equates to a million apparently.
Right. Yeah, but at least the beginning of that is significantly more open than what he used to say. Like, no, there's no way to be a healthy vegan, right? Like, I'm pretty sure he used to say that. Yeah. And now it's more like, well, I mean, yeah, you can, you know, it can be done. So that's progress, right?
Yeah. There's also just other things where he talks about non-essential nutrients that we make in our own bodies that are found in animal products that we don't, again, they're non-essential, so we don't need them. But he'll say like, where do you get your carnitine from?
Yeah,
it's like, I don't need that. Or what about taurine? Oh, guess what? We make our own taurine.
That's super cringe. It's super cringe that he does that.
And he also, sometimes he'll be like, well, you gotta supplement things. And like creatine is one of them, but you don't need creatine. But if you want to maximize like muscle hypertrophy and strength, then he's also selling creatine monohydrate, which is a little bizarre because he talks about how like, you know, just eat meat for creatine. How are the vegans gonna get creatine? You gotta eat meat. So he's aware of creatine monohydrate as a supplement. He's literally selling it. So I don't know why it's an issue when vegans have to supplement something and then they, you know, don't.
What was his deal with, so I actually never even looked into what he was trying to say here, but Matthew Nagra did a video where he was reacting to Paul saying he eats animal-based pasta. Oh, yeah. And it was made out of, what was it? What was the
spaghetti
vegetable?
Squash. It was like
squash.
Squash.
Animal-based pasta with 0 grains. This is what I eat instead of pasta on an animal-based diet. Let me show you how to make it. So I cooked the spaghetti squash for maybe an hour at 400 degrees, give or take. Then you just take a fork and look at that. It's like animal-based spaghetti right there.
An animal-based diet must be the easiest diet on earth to follow because all you do is you take what you're eating and you call it animal-based.
Did we ever find out, like, why was he calling a vegetable animal-based?
Yeah, I mean, when he says animal-based, he just means that it can be included in an animal-based diet, which is predominantly animal products, but not entirely. But it's a little bizarre because it's like when someone says this item is plant-based, they typically mean that it's comprised solely of plants.
Right.
But now we're calling something that's entirely plants animal-based. It just doesn't. It's a weird way to categorize things because typically when we use terms like that, it's like you know, if you say this is an animal-based diet, you're referring to like a collection of foods, and that's fair, right? You can have fruit in there, but like maybe there's like liver and butter, all these kinds of things. But if you're referring to a singular item as animal-based, it's just like, no one uses language like that.
No,
as far as I can tell. So that's why those videos also go so viral when someone responds to him saying that. You can just kind of make fun of it and laugh, and like even his own followers, from what I've seen, like would be like, yeah, we shouldn't be saying that. You know?
Yeah, like, who's his audience? You know,
who's his audience? Yeah, right. That's an OG joke from way back. Yeah.
What's your favorite anti-vegan argument?
My favorite one?
Yeah.
Probably the appeal to tradition. Like when people say we've been eating animals for thousands of years, because it's just like it's one of those things where it's like there are so many things that have happened for a long time that are not good, that like, how could you even appeal to that as a reason to think doing something is good? You know, it couldn't be more obvious, you know, like slavery. Right. Think of anything that we've done that's bad. And how does the thing that's bad happening for a long time make it like good? It's like, imagine someone's like torturing people for 10 minutes. Oh, that's bad. And then you keep it going for like a couple centuries. Oh, dude, it's been happening for a couple centuries now. It's good now. Like, it just doesn't. It's a weird. I don't know if it's like rhetoric. Like people don't actually think that they're using the reasoning in that way. They just kind of say it and it sounds nice. Like we've been doing it for a long time. So like but I don't know. It's when I find arguments funny when like the logical extension of those arguments are like hilarious. Like it's like, so you think slavery is cool too, right? And like all these horrible things.
Slavery is the best one because it's the original. I think I think humans were the first currency, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think before animals even. I think humans were currency because we didn't have domesticated animals until way later in the day. So I'm pretty sure humans were traded.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not too educated on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was true.
I'm pretty sure it was like the first currency was major currency was like humans. So it's one of the oldest traditions, if not the oldest tradition we have as a species. And so technically by that logic, if we've done it for all that is the ultimate thing we've done for a long time.
Also like what some biologists call it like forced mating, like in the animal kingdom it happens and we did it as well, rape. That's probably been happening as long as we've been able to reproduce.
Exactly.
Which is like, what the human species is a little over 200,000 years old, so that's one of the longest things we've probably done, and of course we don't consider it ethical because it's happened.
No, and it's a good thing that we don't operate on the logic of it's happened for a long time.
It's very close to the animals do it as well argument.
Animals. That's always a good one.
Animals do this, so why can't we? It's like animals do a lot of crazy shit. Like, we don't.
All sorts of stuff. My favorite one, I think, is it's a classic. The animals will take over. Take over. They're not going to run society. But if we don't, the argument is if we don't kill them, then they'll be everywhere, right? And it's really funny for multiple reasons. But I'll make fun of it first before we kind of dig into it. But I find it particularly funny because it begs the question: if that is the case, that they would completely dominate, take over, where are they now then? We kill enough of them to have them lining the supermarket shelves every day. So where are those animals? If we're so close to being overrun as we are, like, it's literally on a tipping point. It's kind of what they're suggesting, like, oh God, if we didn't do it. So where are they now then? We'd see them everywhere, wouldn't we? And the answer is they're all in barns. Why are they all in barns? Because are they catching them from the wild? And that's kind of, again, that's the suggestion. The suggestion is that they just exist. And we kill them and put them in the supermarket.
It's kind of bizarre because the implication is that some of these people might think that animals in farms are wild.
And I think, I genuinely think, I'm not even joking, I think some people don't know that, but I think intuitively at the beginning of a conversation with a vegan, that's kind of where they begin. That the farmers pluck them from the wild, and that's why we need to keep doing it.
There's billions of chickens out in the wild.
They're just out there in the wild, and the farmers pluck them out. And obviously the obvious answer to it is the farmers are breeding them, and I think that it's so obvious, and I feel like I'm insulting someone's intelligence when I tell them. Like when someone tells me, but they'll overtake if we don't kill them. There'll be so many of them. I hesitate to say, like, there's only so many of them because farmers breed them, because it's kind of like, it's like I'm talking down to them. Like it's such a
it's like when someone thinks that like brown cows make chocolate milk or something. Like,
exactly.
Some people believe that. It's like,
exactly.
I don't know how to like correct you without sounding like I'm patronizing you, but like that's what your belief is like. It's kind of like, it's just really dumb. Like, you know what I mean?
What else can you? I don't want to come off. I don't want to come off here as if we're so much smarter than everyone else.
No, it's not.
I don't think it's about intelligence. Actually,
I don't actually even like. Just to be honest, like I've always said that I don't think that being vegan is like particularly impressive in the sense of coming to the belief that hurting like animal cruelty is like wrong and we should work to fight against it. It's more impressive maybe like on a social perspective, like to be a minor, like to be on the outside and have all your friends laugh at you, make jokes, and like you still stick to your guns. That's more of what I would say is more like impressive. But the actual like the intellectual part of it, like coming to it's not really.
I don't even think, what I was going to say is like, I don't think it's even, and I agree with everything you said, I don't think it's that people are not intellectual and that's why they make these comments. That is not it at all. And that all vegans are smarter because they don't make those comments. That's not even it. I think it's like a psychological phenomenon. You get incredibly smart people who are studying for some PhD or a master's, and all of a sudden they're telling you, but wouldn't the animals overrun us?
Yeah.
And it's almost like they bench their brain for a second and just go into this sort of self-defense mode, where it's not a good self-defense mode. It's a self-defense mode that operates on a very low level, right? And just looks for things to say that might sound, like you say, rhetorically convincing. Because like, if you never actually looked into it, if you actually say if we're both not vegan and we're talking about a vegan, and I'm like, but it's so dumb, these vegans, because if we don't kill all these animals, what will we do with them? They're gonna overrun. And you'd say, yeah, bro, they're so dumb.
Yeah.
It's very rhetorically convincing. It's a nice story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the problem. It's that it's a combination of a low level defense mechanism and a good story. And it catches people off guard. Like, most people are smart enough to logically figure that out. That it's
and usually
not the case,
once you say, like, hey, just so you understand, like, we don't take them from the wild. They're bred into existence. So getting to a vegan world would be gradual, and so we would just slowly stop breeding them, and then by the time we were at a vegan world, it'll just be like, a vegan world would have so many animal sanctuaries, and it's not like the amount of animals that exists today is the amount that would exist when we get to a vegan world. They would go down as supply and demand goes down. And anytime I've explained that to one of these people who say they're like, oh, okay, that's reasonable.
Like, oh yeah.
I also just think people are very attached to their habits, and there's a sense of like, I don't want to know that I actually have no good reasons to do what I'm doing. So they'll resort to things like, well, what about the overpopulation? What about this?
I've said this a couple
times.
And
I understand it. You don't want to switching habits is like a overwhelming thing for a lot of people.
And I've said this a couple times in videos recently, but you're nailing something there. Like, people, nobody, including us, wants to appear to be the villain in their own story.
Yeah.
We all have our own stories. We're all the main characters. I know there's something called main character syndrome.
Yeah.
And only some people have that. That's more like narcissist. But everybody is the main character in their story.
Yeah.
And when you talk to someone, or I talked to someone about veganism, all of a sudden, the main character is a bad guy. And then they're kind of like, wait a minute, whoa, I'm not a bad guy, I'm a good guy. I'm the good guy in this story. I'm not the villain. And that really annoys people. I think actually, to be fair here, it's not just when vegans talk to meat eaters. When vegans talk to other vegans, this happens too. Because everybody wants to be the good guy. And if one vegan says something to another vegan that the other vegan doesn't like, because it makes them feel like, brings their identity into question, or brings something they did into question, then they also get annoyed too. It's actually anyone talking to anyone all the time, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to be the bad guys.
I was going to say, I did a video a while back called Why Veganism Makes Smart People Stupid.
Yeah, it was a good video.
And that one, I think one of the clips in there was Sam Harris, who, I think most people would agree he's a pretty smart dude.
Yeah.
Saying that he wasn't getting enough protein. And it's just like, you could have figured out how to get enough protein with plants. It's bizarre.
Sam Harris is a key example of that. Another one is Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is actually better now. Did you see he made a post about chickens?
No.
He made a post. So for those that don't know, Neil deGrasse Tyson was notoriously silly, let's say, dumb, let's call him dumb, on veganism. Incredibly intelligent on lots of other stuff. Very, very silly on veganism. But then after he had some pushback, I think, for that. I think a lot of people, even people who are not vegan, were like, dude, like, He was saying things like, oh, the only purpose a cow has on this planet is to turn grass into steak.
They're a biological machine designed to make.
It's just a really horrible thing to say. Even if you want to eat meat, that's just a very mean thing to say about animals, And someone as intelligent as him, who's so in touch with all of this stuff, should really be more, not be so inflammatory like that. It's not very nice. But anyway, he made a post about chickens on Super Bowl day last year, I think it was. I sounded like such like a non-American. Super Bowl day. It's not what it's called, is it?
During the Super Bowl.
During the Super Bowl, yeah. And he was talking about how many chickens are killed and saying that this is actually a travesty and incredibly sad.
Wow.
And it was like, well, wait a minute, what the hell did that come from? So maybe he had a change of heart. Sam Harris hasn't had that change. Oh yeah, he has actually. It's just both of them when it comes to veganism are terrible.
From what I understand, Sam is kind of just waiting for cultivated meat.
Yeah, but when it comes to animals, Sam has spoken really passionately about the horror of slaughterhouses. But it's like they can talk about. This is a whole. We could talk about this all day. Like maybe there's something to us as being strategic. Maybe veganism. when we talk about veganism, that's the problem. But if we talk about veganism without ever calling it veganism, maybe the Sam Harrises and the Neil deGrasse Tysons of the world will actually be like, oh, that's a really good point, rather than arguing against veganism.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that you got to just be strategic in how you bring up this topic, depending on the person you're speaking with. With Sam, it's just kind of, he's so interested in like maximizing well-being and making the world a better place. He wrote The Moral Landscape. He clearly has an issue with like maximal suffering. Him being vegan just seems compatible with his views, but he's definitely recognized in some regard that like it's a good thing to be a vegan. Just more the issue I have is like on an individual basis, like how has he not done it? And a lot of people do think like, oh, systemic change is the only thing that's going to stop it, or cultivated meat. But like, you can even agree with that premise and say, let's say we knew for a fact that in 2050, animal agriculture will be abolished and cultivated meat will be brought to scale, and it'll reach price parity, and it'll just like outcompete animal products. You can still reduce the amount of animals that are going to die on the way to that world. So you should.
It's a cop-out.
Yeah.
It's a cop-out. Imagine putting that into a human context. Imagine, yeah, I'm not going to make him, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Right? It's just such a cop-out to wait for the system to change and not actually do anything personally.
Yeah.
So. Is there a question? Who's your favorite vegan?
You, no.
Yeah, cut, done.
My favorite vegan, I really hate favorite questions. Like people, what's your favorite?
This is the third one.
What's your favorite food?
Could have told me that before we started.
What's your favorite song? I can't give you like a favorite vegan. I think a lot of vegans are good at specific aspects of like vegan advocacy, and I take from influence from like this person. Like I like the philosophy vegans. I like the scientific ones, the plant-based doctors that cover research. The ones who cover environmental stuff, like Nicholas Carter is a good example. He ran, I think he still runs plant-based data, for example. But it's definitely just in general the evidence-based vegans that are very big into like logic and science. I'm just a big fan.
Is that evidence-based in the same way of Paul Saladino's animal-based, or like actual
evidence-based?
Right.
Like people that will acknowledge that like you can be healthy as a non-vegan because you can't. The research does support that. They're not as dogmatic, and they can admit things. They can also, I've seen them, change their beliefs publicly when they've been corrected. I really like that behavior. And I think we need more of it, because there's a lot of smart non-vegans that will come into contact with more dogmatic, maybe pseudoscientific vegans that spread false claims, and it makes us look like we aren't really scientifically literate, and makes us less convincing. And I think we should be getting like some of the smartest non-vegans on our side. They just help with everything.
I've got one more question for you, but before we do that one more question, I've just noticed something that I find absolutely disgusting about your hands, and I need to show the public to see if they agree with me. Put your hand down just now. That one. Put this.
What are you saying?
Put this here, and put your fingers flat.
Do you want me to film?
And yes, and just do it like you were doing just now.
Oh, this?
Yeah. Put that one as flat as it can go. On the table. How do you do that? That is the grimmest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Is that not a thing?
You need to look at his little finger. Look at this.
Is that an uncommon thing, or what?
I mean, that you can flatten the front of your finger and have the rest of it off the table. I can't do that. Not the same way yours is like. Look at this. Look at the angle.
I didn't know I can do. This is like a unique ability.
It's like broken.
She's doing it.
Do you look at the front? Look at the front. It's almost completely flat.
I think it's a vegan. Oh wait, you're vegan too, so that wouldn't make sense.
No. His is flat on the table. His front knuckle is flat down, and the rest of it is off the table.
Your pinky.
It's pinky.
So, I see what you mean.
Look at it.
This is right, and
Look at it. You see, it's fucking crazy.
I think I'm just
you did it, and I was just like.
I think I'm just superior. Well, I like having little weird anatomical things that people can't do. So
do that.
I just discovered another one.
Last question. What's your favorite video you've ever made?
Oh. Dude, I've made thousands of videos, so
we get it. You're so successful.
And I'm productive. I'd have to think about it. I know what it is. I made this series of myself. Like I was playing a meat eater, and then I was playing a vegan, 2 people arguing, and I made 3 parts. Part 2 is my favorite. It's just like somebody kind of running through all the excuses, and the vegans kind of just casually just reading a book, not even really listening, half listening, but like nonchalantly like just destroying all the arguments they're making, and they were sweating, and they were increasingly getting more sweaty, and while I was filming it, I was like spraying my face with like, and I had gel in my hair, and it was like, it looked like milk coming down my, so people were like, he's like sweating raw milk while getting nervous debating a vegan. And that video was just so fun to make and film, and I know it's my favorite because I've never been more excited to post a video, you know? And it was like epic music, and it was like a long video too. It was like 2.5 minutes, which is long for an Instagram reel. But yeah,
that was a really good one. I don't know if you got inspired by this, but there's a guy who makes those types of videos. Is that where you got the idea for the sweat?
He holds the camera like right here, right? He's a comedian.
Yeah. And he does both characters, and then
that's literally who I got it from.
Okay, yeah.
I forgot his name, but
I forgot his name too. But
he's done like interesting ones where it's like 2 people are disagreeing, and like, but he did it better than I. Like he does like crazy mannerism switches, and he shows them real quick for a second, and then like it just gets crazy. Like, chaotic.
I think I don't know who did that first, but it's super funny. And I like that when you did that. That was really funny as well. I think you should do some more of those ones maybe.
Yeah, I feel like I've ran through most of the like I could do like a part 4 maybe. But
just do the same thing. Just do it again. Just do it again, but like slightly different arguments, slightly different debate style. I think people love that.
Yeah, it's true, because there's different ways to present the same thing, and it could feel like a whole nother video. So I also did one though where like a broccoli was trying to kill me. Where I was like, they had like a knife and they were behind me, and before the video played, I filmed myself like this, scrolling on my phone, and all of like the carnivore, animal-based people's videos were coming up, like plants are trying to kill you, plants have defense chemicals, and then I did a whole video where there was a broccoli with a knife, like kind of like following me. It was like a horror-themed video. It was really cool. And
that was funny.
I did one with seed oils as well, where there was a ball of seed oils.
I didn't see that one. I must have missed that one. The broccoli one I saw, that was really good. Yeah, again, like that's a good series, man. There's so many videos about so many things that were supposed to kill us. You could just do them forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I could do one on like oatmeal. People are shitting on oatmeal now.
Yeah. On oatmeal. Oats, of course. Yeah, they've been really upset about oats, haven't they? All right. When you think about how we're going to end this, I guess we just end it. I think I wouldn't even do an outro. It'd just be like your name on the screen.
Sure.
Go follow.
This is the outro. You could just get meta about the outro during the outro. Yeah. Is that it?